the one after that. Are most people generally good?
The question was, are most people generally good? And we had a really diverse response to the question, are most people generally good? But interestingly, a lot of people struggled with it as much as we did, because it's not a question that's particularly easy to answer. And let me give you some of the answers we got.
So some of the answers we got were, drumroll.
So Lee Harris said, I used to view people on how I view myself. And as I think I'm a good person, I took people on face value. As I matured, I realised that that isn't always the case, and there are some real idiots out there. Thankfully, I think most are decent. I agree with Lee in terms of viewing people how you view yourself, because I think if you think you're a good person, you view, with the odd exception, most people are generally good. But Lee wasn't the only person who commented, was he?
No.
So what was some of the other comments?
Alan Hopgood, I hope I'm saying his name right.
Alan Hopgood, yeah.
He put yes, generally, unless they're driving.
Yeah, so weirdly, in our family, I don't drive that much, do I?
Nope.
And if I am, I'm probably the bloke who's annoying Alan by driving. So apologies for that, Alan. I'll try and be a better driver next time. How about Mikey? Mikey's a regular contributor now. He contributed last week as well.
Ooh. Well, he said, I think that's a very deep question. Being good is trained, and as can being selfish. From young, the way we know life, the way we're shown. What's that from?
Well, interestingly, it goes back to what we're trying to do. It's like sort of what role model will show you how to be good. And I think, what do you think about being good? Do you think being good's a choice, or it just comes naturally?
I think.
Or is it learned?
Oh, it's difficult. It's learnt, but it's also a choice. But for some reason, it's a combination of all three.
Yeah.
But I think some people, it comes naturally because of the way they were raised and the certain environments they were raised in, I suppose. Yeah. So it does kind of matter.
Yeah, so environment matters. It's not in your genes, no?
Don't wear jeans.
Oh, God. Is it in your genetic makeup?
I don't wear makeup either.
Oh, God, they get worse and worse and worse. You just ruined me telling that story. And for once, somebody asked me what I think. And I said, in a comment on Facebook, that I think most people are good, but the definition of good is perceived differently depending on who you are, because you're all heroes of your own story. Heidi came with us with a comment, and she said,
everyone has capacity to be good and do good, and then make a choice. Mostly we choose to do good. Don't think anyone genuinely wakes up with the intention of being a bad person.
I think you're right. And Darren just went down the rabbit hole and said, I think you may need to start with what your definition of most, generally, and good is. So I suppose that depends on the individual, because what you perceive as generally good, I might perceive as generally all right. Or
so what do you perceive as most? I think that's a solid 75%.
51% of people is most, isn't it? Statistically, or not?
So, statistically, yes, but most would have to be a good 75%.
75% is most. Okay, interesting. So we had, interestingly, for a conversation we struggled with, many people said most people are generally good in their personal opinion. Brett Davidson, Tim Morris, Karina, Justin Gaffney had an interesting
he wrote a paragraph.
He wrote a whole paragraph, and he said
he's not the only one too.
And he said, in essence, yes. However, I think very few people have an unwavering moral imperative. When temptation presents, I think most people can easily be swayed to do not necessarily what they know is right, but give in to temptation to think they can get away with it. I think there's always an element of temptation that comes into play, but I like to think that most people do the right thing and not the easiest thing most times. And our old friend Claire Walsh, who was kindness story of the week last week, right? Claire was kind of story of the week last week.
One of the kind of stories, yeah.
Said 100%, and I feel pleased that other people concur. Believing that most people are fundamentally good is good for us too. And we've agreed with that, because if you've got a positive life perspective, it's helpful for us. I can think of 2 people I know who think the opposite, and that makes, i.e. most people are generally self-motivated and not up to any good, and that one should always keep one's back up. And I think that makes for a much more miserable experience. Claire, I'm with you 100% on that. I think you're absolutely right. You choose how optimistically you want to see the world, but I know even through my rose-tinted glasses, it's quite a good place to live.
Some people have just given the simple answer.
Yes. Jenny Goldsmith just said
yes.
Most people, they just said yes. Most people are good. And to illustrate that most people are generally good, we've got some more listeners' kindness stories. So do you want to sort of?
Okay, I'll read them out.
Yeah.
Okay, so my nan.
Your nan?
My nan.
Your nan? Good old Robbie White. And she's had a
nose in a couple of our podcasts now.
She's been in a couple of podcasts. Namely, she got told off for not mentioning any Harry Potter characters.
And then after we recorded it, she commented a Harry Potter character.
She did. She didn't mention Voldemort though.
Okay. She commented. She commented a couple actually.
What's the kindest? What things do you do that are kind?
Okay, so she makes dinner for John, his granddad. She bought him some nice jeans, and she's looking after one.
Granddad's got jeans. He might be in his jeans.
And she's looking
I wonder if he's got makeup. I wonder if it's in his genetic makeup.
Okay. And she's looking after one of her granddaughters, so her parents can have a weekend away. She said, "I think that is being very kind."
Yeah, so we spoke last week, didn't we, about how sometimes the tiny acts of kindness are the more important ones. So I think you're right. Kath Keat said, "I left a guy who only needed a gift card go in front of me at Waitrose." Now that's
actually quite a kind thing.
It is a kind thing, but you're opening the thing to queue jumping then. Do you know what I mean? It's like sort of,
I think it's actually a kind thing, because most people, they get really aggravated when they see someone. So it's not only letting them go in front of you, it's also opening yourself up to a little bit of aggravation from others.
Because there's other people in the queue. But life's too short to worry about a 2-minute wait at a queue, isn't it?
Sometimes you can wait for an hour.
Not that I go shopping that often, so I don't care. But Anna Lasani had a comment. Anna Lasani took some fruit and flowers into my neighbour who had just come out of hospital after a minor op. Also, the lady at the nail bar didn't charge me for my daughter to get her nails done, as it is her birthday. What a lovely gesture. So 2, again, really small, simple acts of kindness, which proves categorically that most people are generally good. So, we're still after your acts of kindness. We still want to hear stories of kindness. And where can people get in touch with us, Charlotte?
Hola, kindness.
Hola, kindness. So that's HOLA kindness on Twitter. You can get in touch with us on our own Twitter bios, and that's Chris Dames. Twitter handles. Is that the right phrase?
Yeah, bio is the bit you write yourself.
Of course it is. Yeah, of course it is.
And it describes you.
Yeah. So thanks, Charlotte. So Twitter handles. I'm at Chris Dames. D for Delta. A for Alphabet. E for
Egg.
M for Murgy Masala. And S for sugar.
I thought you were going to say sweet.
Oh, I'll say sweet next time.
Yeah.
What's your Twitter handle?
Charlotte I actually know my bio off by heart. Cool. I'm not going to repeat it though. Charlotte CHARLOTTE JJDAEMS.
Is it Charlotte JJ Dames?
No, it's Charlotte J Dames. But obviously, if I'm spelling it all out, then I have to tell people how to spell J, because sometimes people assume that it's JAY or
But you can find all of our information on the Kindness Project website, which is www.thekindnessproject.co.uk. So until next time, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Kindness Project.
Cheerio!